I was forced to come." Her voice was flat, almost rehearsed, as she slid into the chair across from him. Ethan Carter looked up from his coffee, surprised. He hadn't even caught her name yet. "Oh," he said gently, "that doesn't sound like a great start." The girl, no woman, sat stiffly, arms crossed, eyes scanning the upscale cafe as if searching for an exit. She wore a simple navy coat, her dark hair pulled back in a loose ponytail. There was exhaustion in her posture and something guarded in her eyes. "I'm Maya," she said after a moment, "and before you get any ideas, this isn't something I wanted." Ethan nodded slowly. "I'm Ethan." He didn't add CEO of Carter Tech Industries. He rarely did on first meetings, especially blind dates. His sister had arranged this. Insisted, actually. Told him he worked too much, that his 6-year-old daughter Lily deserved to see her father smile again. Maya exhaled sharply. "My aunt thinks I'm wasting my life by not settling down. She signed me up for this ridiculous matchmaking thing and guilted me into showing up." Ethan smiled faintly. "Sounds like we're both victims of well-meaning relatives." That earned him the slightest twitch of a smile from Maya before it disappeared again. He studied her quietly. She wasn't rude, just closed off, like someone who'd been disappointed too many times. "So," Ethan said, breaking the silence, "since we're here anyway, how about we at least make decent conversation out of it?" Maya shrugged. "Sure, might as well." They ordered coffee. For a few minutes they talked about harmless things, weather, traffic, how overpriced everything had become. Eventually Ethan asked, "What do you do?" "I'm a junior architect," she replied. "Mostly drafting work, long hours, low pay." "That's impressive," he said sincerely. She gave a humorless laugh. "It's survival, not impressive." He hesitated, then shared, "I'm in tech." She nodded politely, clearly uninterested. Ethan noticed her hands, slight tremor, dark circles under her eyes. "You okay?" he asked softly. Maya stiffened. "I'm fine." But something in her voice said otherwise. After a pause, she added, "I've just had a rough year." He didn't push. Instead, he told her about Lily, how she loved dinosaurs, how she insisted on wearing mismatched socks because it made her feel brave, how bedtime stories were sacred in their house. Maya listened despite herself. "You're a single dad?" she asked. "Yeah, my wife passed away 4 years ago." Her expression softened immediately. "I'm sorry," she said quietly. "Thank you." For the first time since sitting down, Maya's shoulders relaxed. They talked longer than either had planned. And when they finally stood to leave, Maya surprised him by saying, "This wasn't as terrible as I expected." Ethan smiled, high praise. She hesitated at the door. "Listen," she said, "I don't usually do second dates." "I don't usually go on first ones," he replied. She studied him for a moment. "Maybe coffee again sometime." "I'd like that." She nodded once, then walked away. Ethan watched her go, feeling something unfamiliar stirring in his chest. Hoping. Over the next few weeks, coffee turned into walks. Walks turned into quiet dinners. Maya met Lily, who immediately decided Maya was nice and smells like flowers. Maya tried not to get attached. She really did. But Ethan was different. He listened. He remembered small details. He never talked down to her. Still, Maya carried her walls everywhere. Ethan noticed. One evening, while Lily was coloring at the kitchen table, Maya stood by the window, staring out at the city lights. "You seem far away," Ethan said gently. She hesitated, then finally spoke. "I grew up watching my mother stay in relationships where she wasn't valued," Maya said. "I promised myself I'd never beg for love." Ethan nodded slowly. "My ex-fiancé cheated on me," she continued, "then blamed me for being too focused on work, After that, I stopped trusting people. He walked closer, careful not to crowd her. You don't have to trust me right away. She looked at him. But I want to earn it. Her throat tightened. A few days later, Maya's firm announced layoffs. Her position was among those cut. She sat in her car afterward, staring at the steering wheel, fighting tears. Rent was due in 2 weeks. She had barely any savings. That night, she showed up at Ethan's apartment unexpectedly. He opened the door and immediately knew something was wrong. I lost my job, she said quietly. He pulled her into a hug without hesitation. She froze for half a second, then melted into him. Ethan let her cry against his shoulder. You can stay here tonight, he said. No pressure, just rest. She nodded, unable to speak. Over dinner, he helped her update her resume. Later, after Lily fell asleep, Maya sat on the couch, wrapped in a blanket. You didn't even ask questions, she said. Didn't feel necessary, Ethan replied. Sometimes people just need support. She studied him. You know, I still don't really know what you do. He smiled. Well, that might be because you never asked. She raised an eyebrow. Okay, what do you do? I run Carter Tech. Her eyes widened. Wait, Carter Tech, the Carter Tech. He winced. Yeah. You're the CEO. Guilty. She stood up immediately. Oh my God, I've been complaining about money and work and... He gently took her hand. Maya, none of that changes who you are. She swallowed. Why didn't you tell me? Because I wanted you to like me for me. Her eyes filled again. You're unbelievable, she whispered. He squeezed her hand. So are you. Maya found a new job within weeks, at a design firm that partnered with Carter Tech, though Ethan made sure she earned the position on her own merit. Life slowly stabilized, but Maya still struggled with feeling worthy. One evening, while Lily was asleep and rain tapped softly against the windows, Maya finally confessed everything. Her fear of abandonment, her financial anxiety, her belief that she'd always be second choice. Ethan listened quietly. Then he took her face in his hands. Maya, he said, you were never forced to come into my life, you chose to stay. Her lips trembled. I don't need you to be perfect, he continued. I just need you to be real. She leaned into his touch. I've never had anyone fight this hard for me. He smiled softly. I'm not fighting for you, he said. I'm walking with you. Months later, Ethan proposed in Lily's favorite park. Lily held the ring box and announced loudly, say yes or I'll cry. Maya laughed through tears and said yes. She often thought back to that first day, the cold words she'd spoken. I was forced to come. Funny how life worked. She hadn't been forced. She'd been guided. Toward a man who taught her that love didn't have to hurt. Toward a little girl who taught her how to be brave. Toward a future she never believed she deserved. And Ethan. He learned that sometimes the strongest families begin with the most reluctant hearts.